Kicking off article number 1 of our top 5 news segment comes from Club Necaxa, which is a team in the Liga MX, in the Mexican soccer league, one of the most watched soccer leagues in the world, and they have officially launched an NFT security token.
It's a big deal. This way you might be confused. It's an NFT and it's a security token. So it's the first time ever that a sports team, specifically a football or a soccer team for those of you in the US, is getting tokenized. And those of, the one person, I should say, that owns the NFT is in fact going to be a true club owner, which means they have equity rights, they have revenue rights, and they actually have other benefits, including, some digital art and the other things that come with the NFT itself.
So they're tokenizing 1% of the soccer team via an NFT, but they're taking all of the compliance requirements needed because it is a security token. You're getting an asset here, so you have to KYC, AML, and accreditation as long as you're here in the US. You're going to then be able to buy a share of that soccer team and then trade that on a secondary market through the NFT. So fascinating stuff here. An ownership of a soccer team getting tokenized. It's happening now.
That's right. And next week, hopefully we'll let you know, because the sale will be concluded, who will be the lucky owner of the NFT. Next up, we have INX, which for those of you who don't know, they recently completed a STO for over $85 million. And with that $85 million proceeds, they said that they intend to acquire Open Finance Network, one of the prominent security token marketplaces here in the United States. And it's official, the SEC has approved the successful acquisition by INX of OFN. So we can expect some big news over there, but it doesn't stop, because INX also used their recent proceeds to buy ILS Brokers, which is a Forex trader with, I think you said 50 different relationships to me earlier around the space. These are critical acquisitions for brokers in the space for developing an infrastructure, especially here in the United States.
On top of that, they're actually going to be listing the INX token, which represents 40% of a revenue share in their exchange platform, which trades both security tokens and crypto. It's going to be listed in July. So they're kicking that off alongside their crypto trading platform to over 7,200 investors in 75 different countries. This is going to be groundbreaking to bring access not only to the cryptocurrency space, but to the security token space through their publicly registered security token, which will trade to retail investors. All exciting things there.
We'll definitely be keeping an eye on this one and keep you updated on the show.
And moving into number 3, we've got the SEC versus Ripple. This is one of the highest profile cases you certainly have covered a lot here on the show. And the SEC took another slight L here, despite the fact that it seemed like Ripple was kind of drowning at one point.
That's right. We're calling it the case of the year because whatever happens here could potentially have precedent on the crypto markets as a whole. We're talking about a company that supposedly, according to the SEC, sold unregistered securities north of $1 billion in value. So it's a pretty big case. And in this case, the little loss, the little small victory you could say that Ripple has here is that the SEC has been trying to get their hands on hundreds of what they call privileged documents that Ripple is holding onto. And the court has recently favored Ripple in saying that the SEC will not get access to these documents in favor of their case. So that potentially could spell gloom for the SEC in their case, but really it doesn't signify anything on the outcome. We'll see a most likely a settlement or some kind of result in the coming year here, and it's definitely, like I said, going to likely have an impact on the cryptocurrency markets.
And the interesting thing here was that one of the main pieces of arguments that the Ripple team used in defending themselves here was that they talked about the inaction that the SEC has used over the last 8 years in not defining what a tokenized security might be. So they actually used the fact that the SEC hasn't been very clear in their definitions, and the judge used that, I'm sure, alongside many other different pieces of the argument to suggest that that is, in case, the truth there. So fascinating to see how this might impact the SEC's definitions on digital securities and a lot of these different pieces moving forward, because potentially inaction isn't good enough.
Small win for Ripple, but we'll see where the case goes. Moving on to number 4, Fusong out in Labuan in Malaysia. They are one of the leading security token marketplaces out there, and they have officially listed a DeFi company onto the platform. This means that you don't just go to a DeFi protocol, you could actually get exposure to the revenues of a DeFi company called Level 01. And they've been very successful to date, launching last year, I believe. And they have done to date 16 million in revenue already. So this is not a small startup here that you can get exposure to on the Fusang exchange.
70% year-over-year growth over the last 3 years. Level 01 is definitely a fascinating platform. They're giving exposure to the DeFi ecosystem here. And this is coming on the heels of delisting the Spice VC token. So they're coming in with a new asset to be able to invest in. This is fascinating stuff, and I think it's a great look for Fusang, who's looking to break into a new sector here with DeFi and allowing investors to get exposure to it.
I don't think it's open to US investors, but I do remember reading that it is open to retail investors. So this is going to be an interesting one to watch as well. And finally, number 5, we've got T0 making an announcement that they potentially could be SPACing. Is that right, Kyle?
Yeah, according to a new CoinDesk article, T0 has been looking for funding for quite a little while now, despite the fact that they raised over $100 million in their security token sale a couple of years ago. It seems that they're now exploring new financing options, including a potential acquisition. If you remember, Pelion Venture Partners actually acquired the T0 company from Overstock to help them figure out how they could either get new financing or merge or go onto the public markets, and they're still exploring all of those options, including, as I mentioned, an acquisition. The headline of this article was T0 is looking for a seller, and so potentially it's all positive, as a lot of their internal statements and their public statements have been about just looking for strategic partners and looking for new financing options, whether it's via a SPAC, whether it's via public financing or private financing. We'll still have to see, but interesting stuff from T0. Does this mean that they're out of cash?
Who knows? We'll, of course, keep you updated on the show, but that's the top 5 things that you need to know this week. Let's move on to the news.
Let's do it.